They're the power players, leaders of the game, making moves in business, building up their fame. They ain't here to play, they're here to make a change, taking over the town, ain't nothing gonna be the same. They got the vision and the hustle on another level, working hard day and night, no time to settle. They ain't afraid to dream big, they go rebel, mingle, making a difference for the community they meddle. They're the bosses, the ones who call the shots, building empires, ain't nobody gonna stop. Investing in the people, giving back a lot. Power players rising, they can't be forgot.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Good Morning Gwinnett Show, and this is the Power Play Edition. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney. Listen, it's a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County. Hello, all my Gwinnetians out there and all of my friends around the world. So happy to be here with you today. 70 degrees here in Gwinnett County, baby, going up to high of 85. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful. I want to give a birthday shout out to my mother-in-law all the way in heaven. Her birthday is today, so happy birthday, Miss Sarah, all the way up in heaven. I know she's up there doing great things in the great atmosphere of heaven. I got a great show for you today. You know, it's political season. It's an election cycle, so you will probably be seeing a lot of candidates here who want to share why they're running for the position that they're running for here in Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County is one of the most powerful counties in the United States when it comes to elections because we have such a huge population of people. So we are always kind of on the in the media because of how large our county is. And so today my guest is Ms. Tuwanda Rush Williams. She's going to be running for Superior Court judge, which is kind of a crowded race. I want to talk to her about like that race because it's a little crowded over. You know, all of the races here in Gwinnett County are crowded. So it's interesting. I hope to have more candidates come on and talk about why they're running for these positions and why they want to be, community leaders. She is a community leader already. I'm going to let her introduce herself and talk more about that. Before I get to that, hey, listen, guys, we have a virtual class tonight. The Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce, there's a virtual class. If you want to learn how to use Google Workspace for your business, and Google has a powerful platform of tools. So if you are listening right now, you want to learn how to use these the Google Workspace. We have a virtual training tonight hosted by our tech committee chair, Ms. Victoria Walker. She's a little tech, I call her a little tech leader. She's a tech leader. But she's going to be hosting that class this evening at, I think it's 7 p.m. But anyway, go to GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com for more information about that to see how you can register. It's open to the public. It's virtual. You don't have to be a member of the GWC to attend. There's a non-member rate if you're not a member, but if you are a member, it's free for you. So check it out. Go to GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com. Also on Friday, we have a tech talk. If you're interested in cybersecurity, a career in cybersecurity, how to protect your business with cybersecurity, you might want to attend this event. So again, go to GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com to look at our events. It's right there on the calendar. And we're going to be at Atlanta Tech Park over in Peachtree Corners at 12 o'clock on Friday. When you come, lunch is served when you purchase your ticket to attend. And this is important. You may think that because you're a small business, you don't need cybersecurity. We all need cybersecurity, especially when you're processing people's payments. So make sure to go to the website, GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com, click on the events tab, and you'll see all of our events there. And anybody's welcome. Men welcome. If you don't live in Gwinnett County, you're welcome. I get that question a lot. Can I become a member if I don't live in Gwinnett County? You absolutely can. So go to GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com for more information. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Miss Tuwanda Rush Williams to the stage, and we're going to be talking about her candidacy for Superior Court judge here in Gwinnett County. So let's bring her up. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here this morning. I'm excited to hear your stance about your platform and what you're going to be doing and why you're running for Superior Court judge. Now you had a high position here in Gwinnett County, and I was interested, like, okay, so why would you want to leave that position? So before I get into all my questions, give people a little introduction about who you are.
Absolutely. So first, thank you so much, Mrs. Bell Kearney, for the opportunity to talk to your audience this morning. Welcome. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to be here. So I am running for Gwinnett Superior Court judge, not just because I have over 31 years of experience practicing law, and not just because I am well-versed in over 25 areas of the law, but simply because I care about the people of Gwinnett County. I spent most of my legal career here in Gwinnett County. And so I'd like to give back. And I've been a public servant for many, many years. and I can talk about that previous job that you mentioned earlier, but I'd like to continue in public service. I do want to give a little bit of background about who I am, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So I was born and raised in Rochester, New York, to working class people. My father only had a fifth grade education,
Mm.
and my mother went to the 11th grade. She was a domestic, just like the position that was portrayed in the movie The Help. So she cleaned other folks' homes and took care of their children her entire life until
Wow.
she retired about 10 years ago. So I was born to working class parents. I lost my father when I was 13 years old. My sister and I, it was just us and our mom. And so it was a bit of a struggle, very much so for us in terms of making ends meet. So thankfully, I did well in school and went to Syracuse University on pretty hefty scholarships and financial aid. And then I went to the State University of New York at Buffalo Law School solely because it was inexpensive. It was a state school and I did not want to take a whole lot of loans out that I have to pay back. So, how did I end up in Georgia, you might ask?
Yeah.
Because my sister married a gentleman who was stationed in Fort Gordon in the Army. And Fort Gordon is outside of Augusta, Georgia. And after he spent some years in active duty, he was hired by Kimberly Clark Corporation, which is based in Roswell, Georgia. So they moved to Metro Atlanta, and I came to visit my last year of law school. And I thought, no snow, clean air, great weather. I'm moving down to Georgia.
Yeah.
So that is how I ended up here. And I call this home now because I've been in Georgia for 32 years. So I've been here longer than I lived in New York State.
So what
So,
made you decide to go into law?
excellent question. So, until I was in the 11th grade in high school, honestly, I thought I would become an American literature professor. I love to read. I always had a book under my arm wherever I was. And I thought I'd love to teach American literature until I had the opportunity to participate in a mock trial competition in my high school.
Mm.
They were recruiting students to participate, and I played the role of an attorney. So I had to study a case and I had to prepare direct examination questions and cross examination questions. And I loved it. Our team did very well in the competition. We competed against other high schools. And at that point, I thought, just maybe I'll pursue a career in law. So that was the turning point for me. And I majored in political science, which I would not advocate for people to do today. I think communications or journalism would be the better option if you are interested in becoming a lawyer.
It's interesting you would say that because when I think about people who want to be an attorney, I think poli sci, right? But you're saying communications or journalism. Now, why are you saying that? Because I find that pretty interesting. Because I talk to people all the time. I was telling someone recently, and I think I even did a show about this. If I were running for office, I would be in. I would have this show, another show. I have so many communication outlets going because you can. And when I talk like that, people just look at me like I got two heads. But this is media all day long and twice on Sundays. And so I'm interested in why you say that communications or journalism.
Yeah, great question. So, when you are a political science major, your focus is on governments of other countries, right? So,
Mm,
you are understanding, you're learning the government structure of countries all over this world. That has nothing to do with the practice of law. As
mm,
lawyers, we read a lot, we write a lot, and we talk a lot. Those are the
mm,
three skills that you have to have, and you have to master those skills to be an
mm,
effective and successful attorney. So, communications gives you that opportunity to write a lot as well as you get to read a lot. and you're communicating with others. So that's why communications is the ideal major. Same thing with journalism, because you're writing a lot. We write a lot of briefs. If you're a civil litigator like I have been for my entire 31 years as an attorney, you are writing what we call briefs all the time. They could be 50 pages long. So you have to be comfortable with prose. And so that's why I always suggest communications or journalism. And also with communications, you develop really good oratory skills, and you're going to need those when you're appearing in court and arguing on behalf of your client.
That makes so much sense. What about people who are thinking about going into law and they think criminal justice?
Well, a lot of people do think criminal justice, and that would be a good major if you know for a fact that you want to be a criminal defense lawyer or a prosecutor, because those lawyers only deal with the criminal laws. So if you want to do that and you're certain that you don't want to practice in any other areas of the law, I think criminal justice would be fine. But if you think at any point you want to cross over into the civil arena, your personal injury cases, property damage cases, contract disputes, business law, then I still would recommend you stick with communications or journalism as a major in college.
Okay. Seems like you got a fan club here, so I'm gonna pop this up on the screen. There are some people who saying, listen, you are the one. Well, the one thing I love about this show is the interaction. Like you can go in here and you can type in comments. Now I'm gonna tell you, if you type in some crazy comments, I'm not gonna pop them on the screen. But if you type in some love or you have a question, please by all means drop your question in the comments, and I'll be happy to pop it up on the screen so we can answer. Don't pop in crazy questions. I'm not gonna answer. We're not gonna pop them up there. Okay, okay. Because people will pop in here and they like, look, I got we're not doing that today. Not today. So I know you held a high position at the district attorney's office. Tell them what that position was and why you decided to step down, because I thought that was pretty up there.
Excellent question. So actually, I never worked in the district attorney's office.
Okay.
I held a high position in the county attorney's office.
Okay.
And so for the benefit of your audience, the difference between the offices is pretty clear. So the district attorney prosecutes felonies. That's all they do is criminal felony work. So they represent the state of Georgia, and they are the decision makers as to which cases they're going to prosecute. And they're big time felonies, your murders, your manslaughters, your aggravated assaults, your arsons, your robberies. That's what they do. The county attorney's office does everything else that county government needs from a legal perspective.
Mm-hmm.
My clients in the county attorney's office were the board of commissioners. As you know, the current board is Nicole Love Hendrickson is the chair, as well as Commissioners Jasper Watkins, Kirkland Carden, Ben Koo, and Matthew Holcamp. All of them were my clients for 18 years, as well as all of your other elected officials. So my clients included the district attorney, the solicitor general, the clerk of court, the tax commissioner, the sheriff, and all of the judges that make up Gwinnett County's 6 courts.
Wow.
And so every single one of those individuals required legal advice and counsel. And sometimes people don't think of county government as needing a law department, but county government cannot function without a law department, because we are the ones who are writing the contracts for everything that county government needs, from building a library or a school or a police station to writing a contract to build a road or widen a street, to construct anything. We also handle all the lawsuits that are filed against the police officers. So your civil rights litigation cases, my office defended those cases. Our practice areas were pretty wide. We handled cases in 20 areas of law, everything from property damage cases to personal injury cases when our employees who drive county vehicles get involved in car accidents. Lots of property tax appeals when people appeal their property taxes. Those cases go to Superior Court, as well as condemnations, as well as your routine police cases. So there's a lot to unpack, but yeah. So I was with the county attorney's office in Gwinnett for 18 years, and I was promoted to second in command as deputy county attorney back in the beginning of 2019. And so you're right. It was a pretty esteemed position. I was over our litigation team, and I supervised other lawyers and managed their caseloads and accompanied them to court and to handle trials. So, and
Wow.
I loved my job, but I left because I was in a unique position to see things that other people don't see who don't work
Mm.
inside of county government.
Okay, because I was like, why would you leave that position? So some of the things you saw. Well, first let's talk about what a superior court judge actually does. Because I think when I listen to that, it's like I would not leave that one to go over here. So I think, and that's because I don't know what a superior court judge actually does. So let's talk about what that job entails, so people can get an understanding of like why would she leave this high esteemed job to go be a superior court judge for a county?
Excellent question. So, a superior court is a trial court of general jurisdiction. Superior Court has exclusive jurisdiction over felonies. So, we talk about felony criminal cases, we're talking about murder, manslaughter, armed robbery, burglary, arson, rape, aggravated assault, um, pretty much your higher level crimes, right?
Mhm.
And a felony is a case that carries a minimum of a year in jail if you are convicted. So you're going to spend at least a year behind bars if you're convicted of a felony, and that's state law. In addition to hearing your felony criminal cases, the Superior Court handles family law matters. So everything from petitions for divorce to petitions for legitimation of a child to child custody matters, uh, child support matters are heard there as well. Adoptions are heard there. So anything that you can think of that involves family issues are heard exclusively in Superior Court as well. The only thing that Superior Court doesn't handle are matters involving juveniles, dependency cases or delinquency cases. Those are actually heard in juvenile court. But more importantly, Superior Court hears a lot of other cases that you don't think of, such as contract disputes, disputes over land, property tax appeals. When people are dissatisfied with the amount of their property taxes, they can appeal those cases all the way to Superior Court. They also, Superior Court also hears your condemnation actions. And what those are, if you've heard the term eminent domain, it's when the government takes someone's private property for a public purpose. So they may pay someone for the value of their home because they need that land to build a school or a fire station or a tax office or even a roadway. So all of those condemnation cases also go to Superior Court. And as a deputy county attorney, and before that, as a senior assistant county attorney, I handled hundreds of property tax appeals, condemnation cases, contract disputes, and civil rights litigation cases as well. And they all go to Superior Court.
Okay, so I can tell you right now, what did you see as a county attorney? What did you see that made you want to switch? Because I can tell you right now, I would have nightmares about a murder case. I would have heartbreak about anything dealing with family issues. So when I think about where you're going versus where you were, what did you see to make you say, I'm going to leave over here to go over here? What was it?
Excellent question. So let me start by saying at the beginning of my career, I was in private practice and I did criminal misdemeanor defense work. So that's all
Mm,
your crimes that carry less than a year in jail. I was a court appointed attorney in Fulton County State Court. I also handled family law cases, right up to divorce, child custody. I
mm,
enjoyed those practice areas
okay.
considerably. So that was one factor that I considered when I prayed about this decision to run for Superior Court. But more importantly, because I was an attorney in the county attorney's office here in Gwinnett, I got to see what was happening at the Gwinnett County Jail.
Mm,
So I visited the jail often because the sheriff was my client, as well as his
mm,
entire staff. And when I was there, when I left the county last May to run for judge, there were over 500 people sitting in the Gwinnett County Jail with mental illness.
mm.
500.
Wow.
And people with mental illness require specialized care. They require medication stabilization, around the clock observation, because they tend to be a higher suicide risk. They are
Mm,
also socially isolated, very much so. So they require a lot of manpower from the sheriff's office. Because of that, the other 2,200 inmates in the regular population were largely neglected.
mm,
They were getting a shower one day a week. It was difficult for their lawyers to come and see them because, they were locked up for 23 hours at a day. Now, remember, these are people who have not been convicted. People who sit in the Gwinnett County Jail are awaiting trial. Some of them are there because they cannot make bond to, get out while they're waiting for their case to come up for trial. And some of them are there simply because they've committed some lower level offense like criminal trespassing. And so they just do their time or DUI. And when I visited, what I realized is that people with mental illness are not served well in jail. And judges play a role in that. We have accountability courts in Gwinnett County. We have a mental health court, a veterans court, and a drug court in Superior Court. I would like to see judges not send anybody to jail while they await trial who has mental illness. I would like to see all of those individuals be sentenced to probation and home confinement with required counseling services and a case manager so that hopefully they can get better and be productive members of our society. So that was a huge reason why I decided to run.
okay, so let me ask you this because I first of all, the whole not taking a bath but once a week that just threw me, and that's the 2,200 that do not have mental health issues, illnesses. But I want to go back. So your proposal is to put them on home confinement, right? But if they have mental illnesses, and is it some way to put them on home confinement where they can't leave the house at all? Because I don't know if a bracelet on the ankle is going to stop somebody from leaving the house, especially if they have mental illnesses. So when I think about that, I'm thinking, I don't know how that will work. My other question is, do we not have facilities in Gwinnett County that house people such as those who have mental illnesses?
So that isn't, both of those are excellent questions and comments, and I appreciate that. So you are correct. You cannot stop someone from leaving the home,
Mhm.
right? That's a fact. And to be honest with you, there have been occasions where the court would sentence someone to home confinement. And when that person did not comply with the court's order to stay home and get the treatment he or she needs, the person would then be placed back in custody in the jail for violating the court's order. But I do think people should be given the opportunity to comply with the court's order because some people actually will stay home and meet with a case manager and a counselor because they don't want to be in jail. But to not give someone that option, I think, is ridiculous, personally. And in response to your other question, the other reason why I'm running for Superior Court judge is because I would like to see us expand our accountability courts to include working with the state as well as the county in their budgetary line items to expand our mental health facilities. Right now in Gwinnett County, we have two mental health facilities. One is Viewpoint Health, and the other is Summit Ridge. Summit Ridge requires insurance in order to be admitted there. As you can imagine, the vast majority of people who are suffering from mental illness don't have insurance. They don't have the means to pay for inpatient care at Summit Ridge. Many of them are homeless, right? Homelessness ties to, mental health concerns. And so that's not a really good option. Viewpoint Health will take people who are underinsured or uninsured. The problem is that Viewpoint Health only had 16 operable beds when I left Gwinnett County last year. And even though they have the capacity for 24 inpatient individuals, it's difficult for them to even hire people because it is a risk. It's a dangerous job to work in a mental health facility. They've had nurses who were thrown across the room. So even recruiting people to work there, the salary is low. They just can't even accommodate the 24-person maximum because they just don't have adequate staffing, because they can't pay people what they're worth, and it's a dangerous job. So one of the things that I believe judges are in a unique position to do is to go down to the state capitol and advocate for more money so that we can have more mental health facilities that judges can send those accused of crimes to, as well as we are, I think, in need of a mental health hospital in Gwinnett County as the second largest county in this state.
Now that part I totally agree with, because I feel like as you were speaking, I'm thinking, we have billions and billions of dollars sitting up in a surplus, and I'm sure if Gwinnett is having this issue, there should be counties around Georgia having the same issues, because we're progressive here. We're the first to do pretty much a lot of things. So if we're having an issue, I think all the Superior Court judges should get together, like, let's go fight for this money so we can have these facilities in place so we can help these people who really need help. Now I need to go back to the 2200 and the bath thing, right? Whose responsibility is it to make sure that people get to take a bath more than once a week? That sounds disgusting.
Well, let me just say that the good news is things are a lot better at the jail, and I give my hats off to Sheriff Kibo Taylor, who was my client. When I left in May, that was the story. 2,200 regular inmates who pretty much, were denied their liberty for 23 hours a day. Since that time, Sheriff Taylor actually transferred 1,000 of those regular inmates to a private prison called Irwin State Prison. So that allowed our Gwinnett County Sheriff staff more opportunity to manage the regular inmates while simultaneously managing those with mental illness. So they are now given their recreation time. They are able to have a shower every day. So when I talked about the conditions of, getting a shower one day a week, that was when I was working for the county. And I left the county in May of last year. So things are a lot better, but we still need a long way to go to ensure that we are able to take care of the least of these, which are those with mental illness. Because at the end of the day, mental illness affects us all.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just be honest. And when I see people stick their heads in the sand to say, well, it's not my concern, it is your concern.
Yeah.
It's your concern, because these are some of the people who are having anxiety attacks, who are causing terrorism acts, shooting. These are people who are engaged in car break-ins, not always. And these are the homeless that are on the street, right? With a cardboard sign. So it impacts us all. And it was a big financial burden on the sheriff's office to try to manage the mental illness inmates along with the regular inmates. It costs a lot of money to house people and provide medication and have a medical service provider on staff, on contract. Um, so there's a lot that judges can do. Um, but that's not the only reason why I'm running. That's a huge reason because
Mhm.
I was able to see up close and personal what was happening at the jail. But I'm also running because I'd like to facilitate access to justice by those who are in marginalized communities and various ethnic communities. I was the first African American officer of the Gwinnett County Bar Association.
Wow.
I served as an officer for 5 years. It was a little lonely because I was the first and I was
Mhm.
the only, but I made sure I wasn't last. And in my capacity as an officer, I had the opportunity to collaborate with other organizations throughout Gwinnett County, to provide, to plan various events. And what I discovered is that people in the Korean community and in the Chinese community and the Vietnamese community, they don't trust our legal system. They don't trust the
Mm.
courts. They feel like the courts don't work for them. When I visit the Latino community, and this is before Sheriff Taylor was elected, they were always worried that if they reported a crime, their loved one would be deported.
Yeah.
And so you had families that were literally being separated because their mother or father would be sent back home to Mexico or Guatemala. And so when there was criminal activity in their neighborhoods, they didn't even call the police. And so they were fearful. So I would like to see judges actually be visible in the community. Many people don't even know who their judges are. They couldn't tell you. And I would like to see judges in the community. I'd like to see judges having something like, you know, just, you know, just conversation with the judge, right? Just everyday people talking to a judge, once a month, making a judge available. They answer questions about the types of cases that are heard in the court, as well as how you would actually pursue a civil lawsuit, the steps that you would take, and just be visible, be accessible.
I think that's so important. And it's funny because you and I met probably 3 years ago at an event. So I know probably at a couple of events. So I know you have been in the community. For me, a lot of times I'm not excited when I meet people and they say they're running for office, only because I've never seen them before most of the time.
Mhm.
I've never seen them. They pop up out of nowhere. They want you to vote for them. We don't know you. You have one opponent that I know very well because she's been everywhere for as long as I've known her. So I know her. But when someone came to one of our breakfasts last Friday and they were running for office, and I was like, look, I'm just going to be honest. Like, we see people at election time. We don't see them anymore. We don't know who these people are. And I think that's so important that, get out, because at the end of the day, if you have to run for that seat again, at least we know who you are. My husband and I were at an event. As a matter of fact, it was a Greater East Side Chamber of Commerce gala.
Mhm.
I think year before last. There was a gentleman sitting to the table with him because I was running around because I was the vice president at the time. So I hardly sat down at all. But when we went to the poll to vote, I didn't know who to vote for. He was running for judge, I think. And I was like, I don't know any of these people. My husband was standing right next to me at the poll. He said, vote for that guy. He was at our table. He was really cool. That's who I voted for. I had no idea. And I'm the person that kind of stays on top of politics and send everybody out the list of people. This is who we voting for, y'all. I do this to my family. These are the people we voting for. I didn't know who to vote for in that case. So I think what you're saying is so important that they need to get out and be a part of the community other than when it's an election cycle.
Yes.
Other than
Yes.
when it's an election cycle.
Yes.
Because people need to know, like, I like the legal clinic. Like, I feel like that's important because there are a lot of things. I had to go to court with my daughter one time, a custody court, superior court. I didn't even know because I'm born in Georgia, raised in Jersey. I
Mhm.
didn't know that you have to declare custody of a child even if the father's name is on the birth certificate. I'm
Yeah.
sitting in the court like, what? Had never heard of that before. So it's little
Right.
things like that, especially people coming from other states. They think they have certain rights and they don't know they don't have these rights. So just to have legal clinics to empower people to know with the knowledge that to know these things is so important. So I totally agree with you about that. Um, so you're running. You have three opponents, two opponents, I think.
I have
So
two opponents.
two opponents. It's a little crowded. Um, it's a little crowded in all of our races though, which is interesting. Um, what do you want people to know, and why should they vote for you?
That is an excellent question, and I thank you for it. There's a lot of reasons why I'm humbly asking for the vote of our Gwinnett County residents. First and foremost, I'm the only candidate in this race that has practiced most of my legal career in Gwinnett County. So I know Gwinnett County better than my opponents. I worked in the county attorney's office for 18 years. I'm currently of counsel at a law firm in Peachtree Corners, Thompson, O'Brien, Kapler, and Nasuti. They were gracious enough to hire me part time because I had to leave my job as deputy county attorney in order to run. And many people ask, why did you have to leave? It was because I defended our judges when they were sued. So it was considered a conflict of interest for me to keep my job as deputy county attorney and run to become a judge. So this is a faith walk. And so I would advocate that you want somebody who knows Gwinnett County community. I know the commissioners. I serve them daily. If you ask them about me, they can tell you about me. I know the sheriff. I know the district attorney and the one before her. I know the solicitor general and the ones before her. I know the clerk of court and the ones before her. I know the judges. You want somebody who knows the legal community and somebody who knows the courts. Also, because I'm a career public servant, as you just said, Mrs. Bell Kearney, I've served Gwinnett County. I don't just practice law. I have not only talked the talk, but I've walked the walk. I have been in the Gwinnett Giving Girls, which is a nonprofit organization. It's a philanthropic organization under the Community Foundation of Northeast Georgia. I've been in it for 5 years. We award grants to organizations that are startups that serve primarily women and children. I'm currently on the Hope Advisory Board. That stands for Helping Other People Be Empowered. That organization exists to help single parents obtain their college degree. So we support their family needs while they're trying to get their college degree. I've been in the Rotary Club of Gwinnett Tomorrow before it folded. Until last June, I was the chair of the scholarship committee of the Gwinnett County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. In that capacity, we awarded $65,000 in scholarships to students attending college under my leadership. It goes on and on. My civic involvement, I created the Gwinnett chapter of the Georgia Association for Women Lawyers, literally created it. It exists, it's vibrant, it's strong. And some of the people that's running for office right now have served as president of the organization I created, as well as, of course, my involvement in the Gwinnett County Bar Association for 5 years. When I was president, I appointed the next African American officer to make sure I wasn't the first and the last in that capacity as well. The list goes on and on. I've done volunteer work with Family Promise of Gwinnett. I'm in the Peachtree Rose Club right now. We do a ton of community service with Tabitha's House, which is, of course, a rescue place for survivors of human trafficking. So it just goes on and on and on. So you want somebody who is actually serving the community and not just practicing law here. And then the other reason is because I know over 25 areas of the law, and I know them intimately, many of which are heard in Superior Court. I can't tell you how many times people think, oh, well, I won't ever be in front of you because I'm not going to commit a crime. And then I have to say, you do know that only 40% of the cases that are heard in Superior Court are criminal cases. And a lot of those cases don't even go to trial because the defendant takes a plea. And so, there's just a sentence involved. And those are important cases because you're talking about liberty, but they're only 40% of cases. All the other stuff are your family law cases, your condemnations, your property tax appeals, civil rights litigation cases, contract disputes, title land disputes, as well as your mandamus actions, declaratory judgments. A lot of other areas of the law are heard in Superior Court, and I'm the only candidate that has experience in those areas. So if you want somebody who has a diverse experience in the law, that's me. If you want somebody who is committed to Gwinnett County, not just as a lawyer, but as a resident, as a citizen, that's me. And if you want somebody who enjoys being a public servant, who wants to go to a higher level and serve the community, that's me as well. And for me, this would not be a pay increase. It's actually a decrease from what I earned as deputy county attorney. But that shows my commitment to helping more people, a broader audience, other than the 5,300 county employees that I defended for 18 years.
Wow. Well, I would love to see more legal clinics, and I tell you, I would love to be able to broadcast those clinics right here, so we can reach as many people as possible. Because you said a lot of stuff that I'm sure people just don't know, because they don't even know the right questions to ask. Like I'm one of them. So, but I know people to ask, but there are some people who just don't. So I would love to see that happen. How can people vote for you? What's your website?
Excellent. My website is tuwandaforjudge.com. That's spelled T as in Tom, U W A N as in Nancy, D as in Deborah, A, the number 4, judge.com. Tuwanda, the number 4, judge.com. I like to think of it as Wanda with TU in front of it. And I hope that you'll check me out, compare my qualifications and skills. And I will say that my opponents will say, of course, I'm the best qualified, but I am actually the best qualified if you want someone with diversity of experience and someone who has already shown a deep commitment to Gwinnett County.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you coming on this morning. I look forward to following your campaign. When is the voting time for you guys?
Excellent question. I'm glad you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Early voting actually starts a week from Monday, so it begins on April 29th. And I encourage people to go and vote early. And early voting goes from April 29th to May 17th. And then the actual election day is Tuesday, May 21st. And I will say for your audience, the pleasure of audience, for judicial races, this is our only shot. We do not appear on a November agenda because judicial candidates run as nonpartisan candidates. We cannot declare as a Democrat or a Republican or an independent because obviously the tenet of being a judge is impartiality. We cannot be swayed by political partisanship. So I ask you to come out and vote because if you don't vote in May, then you won't be able to vote for the judicial candidates at all.
All right, you heard it here. So listen, guys, I hope you got a lot of the visitor website. It's right there on the screen, tuwandaforjudge.com. Check it out. Go look at her credentials. She did an amazing job talking about the credentials. So Tuwanda, thank you so much for being my guest today. I really you are my first power player for the month of April. So yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. No problem. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. So listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. And listen, if you are a candidate and you want to come on the show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com. If you live in Gwinnett now, I'm talking about if you live in Gwinnett, or, if you're running for the state of Georgia and you cover Gwinnett, go to Gwinnett.com, fill out my guest form there, be my guest, and I'll have you on. Like, what I like to say is that this show is a nonpartisan show, kind of, sort of. We want to be a voice of the community and for the people, even if you are not running for a political office, but you are a business owner, you're an author, you're someone who empowers our community, and you consider yourself a power player. Go to goodmorninggwinnett.com and fill out the guest intake form. And, if I have the time and the space, I'll be sure to bring you on the show. So go to goodmorninggwinnett.com, fill out that form, and I would love to have you come on and share your story. It's about being inspired. It's about empowering our community. It's about making sure that we know the people, we need to know who the power players actually are So I intend on having them all on this show, all of them. So be sure to check it out. Be sure to subscribe to the show. If you missed an episode of the show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to past episodes there. If you're over on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode and click the notification button. That way you never miss an episode. If you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. I'll be back again tomorrow, but not on video. Wednesday is Power Players. I bring on video. Tomorrow I'll be on regular audio. So go to goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to the show there live. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be back again at 10 a.m. tomorrow, God willing. You guys stay safe out there. Listen, stay safe. It's beautiful. I don't know where you are in the world, but it's beautiful here in Gwinnett County today. It's a lovely day. Stay safe out there. I'll be back again tomorrow, God willing. Until next time, my friends. Until next time, make it a great day. Bye, everybody.
You've been watching or listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the show today and share it with your friends by going to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com.